If you've been watching the news recently or reading it, there's a lot of doom and gloom and a lot of people saying that the market is going to crash. There's actually an article from the Brantford Expositor that just came out not too long ago that said values were down in Brantford 18% from their peak. But what they do not mention is that prices went up by 20% from November 2021 to February 2022. This was for absolutely no reason, but another thing they don't mention is that prices are still up 23% from 2020. Now, remember, before all of this craziness started, where we started seeing double-digit increases in home values year over year, the return on your home that you would expect was anywhere between 3 to 5%. And if you got 5% return on your home year over year, that was an amazing thing. Now, let's get into what happened in the real estate market here in Brantford, Ontario for November 2022, so you can cut through all the noise and know exactly what's going on in the market today. There were 103 homes sold across all of Brantford during the month of November. Now, this is down 49% year over year and 12% from just last month. But the important thing to note here is that usually during the middle of November, we start to see the market slow down as we start to head into the winter market. During the winter market, we do tend to see home sales slow down as a lot of people do not like to move during the holiday time and during winter. There were 238 new homes listed last month. This was down 27% from last month. This could be a sign that I had mentioned that we are heading into the winter market, but it could also be a sign that sellers are starting to rethink about selling their homes now that they aren't going to get peak pricing, and it could be making them think about staying where they are and keeping locked in at their lower interest rate. Now, the average sales price for a detached house here in Brantford, Ontario was $733,689. Now, this was down 15% year over year, but was actually up 4% from the month of October. This is a sign that the market is starting to level off. For the last few months, prices have remained steady. We are no longer in a steep decline downward. The average day on the market, which measures how long it will take a home to sell, crept up by 1 day from 31 days to 32 days. Now, this is starting to return back to a normal level where we typically see things sell between 21 to 25 days. The total months of inventory of homes did creep up from 4.4 months in October to 4.9 months in November. Now, we call this the absorption rate, which means that if no new listings were to come to the market, it would take 4.9 months for the entire inventory to sell. This puts us in a balanced market, but we are starting to creep closer and closer to a buyer's market. And this happens when we reach 6 months worth of inventory of homes for sale. Inflation did come in at 6.9% for the month of November, which is the same inflation rate as the previous month in October. Now, this is still far from where the Bank of Canada wants the inflation rate to be, around 2 to 3%, but they did raise the overnight interest rate just earlier this week by another half a percentage basis point to 4.25%. This rate hike marks the 7th consecutive rate increase and the fastest rate increase that they have done since the early 90s. Now, the Bank of Canada hasn't ruled out any further interest rate hikes, but they are starting to look at the way the economy is going, and they will monitor it closely and act accordingly. Now, they are going to have another announcement in January, so it'll be interesting to see what they do. One interesting thing to note is that the 5-year fixed rate term mortgages have come down below 5% for their first time in a couple months. This could be a good sign for buyers in the near future. Now, let me ask you a question. Is it better to pay $100,000 over asking at 2.99% or 30K under asking at 4.99%. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. So what does this mean for sellers? Now, even though we are starting to see prices level off, there are reports that prices are going to come down a little bit. Now, because the Bank of Canada did raise the overnight interest rate, again, there's a good chance that it's still going to have a little bit more of a downward push on prices. Now, the good news is we are starting to see that buyers are returning to the market. They've had time to adjust their expectations and their budgets, and they are starting to look again to find the right home for them. Now, selling during the winter months means you're going to face less competition, but that doesn't mean you should not do everything you can possible to make your house stand out amongst the competition. Pricing your home correctly still is the most important thing that you want to do. Now that prices are leveling off, it's going to make pricing your home that much easier, but you do not want to overprice your house, as it will just sit on the market and buyers will start to think, what is wrong with this house? And they will start to lowball you on the offers. You also don't want to go the route of severely underpricing your house in hopes of having a bidding war, because buyers are very wary of getting into multiple offer situations right now. And what we are seeing, even though some homes have gone into multiple offers, the homes haven't been selling for that much over asking, if at all, and they still have conditions on the offer, namely the financing condition. If you do plan to sell during the holidays, make sure that you do not over decorate the house. Too many decorations on the house could actually take away and distract the buyer from seeing all that the house has to offer. So keep it simple, keep it clean, and keep it festive and welcoming. What does this mean for buyers? Well, as we start to creep closer and closer to a buyer's market, sellers are more open to negotiation, and you might be able to get your house that you want under list price and to have conditions such as financing and inspections. And during the inspections, you will be able to bring up those items that need to be fixed, and the seller is going to be willing to address those issues. You will also be facing far less competition than you would have been seeing earlier this year, so there is a better chance that you can find your dream home. Now, because interest rates, or the fixed rate 5-year term, has gone down below 5%, now would be a great time to talk to your mortgage broker and get pre-approved, because if the rate does go down a little bit more before you close your house, you may be able to ask the lender for a rate float down. If you ask me, right now is the best time to buy. We are in what I call this little sweet spot where rates have sort of flattened out. Home prices might come down a little, you're facing less competition, and at the end of the day, it should be a lot easier to find your dream home. If you found any value in this video whatsoever, consider hitting that like button, subscribing, so you can stay up to date on the market here in Brantford, Ontario. If you like this video, you're going to want to watch this video right here, where I show you what you can get between $400,000 to $500,000 here in Brantford. So I'll see you in the next video.